and he was born in the Philippines. Father Caparas has had the desire to be a priest since he was a young boy. He immigrated with his family to the United States in 1986 and graduated from Seton Hall University. Father Caparas was ordained to the priesthood in 2006 and has served since then in several parishes in New Jersey, including St. Peter's in Merchantville, where he impressed with his erudite but always joy-filled preaching. Father is currently pastor of the newly formed Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Parish in Newfield, New Jersey. In addition to his duties as pastor, Father works with the youth and young adults and teaches religious education. Many of you no doubt also know Sister Jessica Whitman. She's a Franciscan sister, missionaries of the Heart of Jesus and of Mary Immaculate. She's the oldest of 10 siblings. All of them have been homeschooled. Sister Jessica is stationed at St. Peter Convent in Merchantville, New Jersey, along with Sister Kovacs, who unfortunately couldn't be with us here today. But the Franciscan Missionaries of the Heart of Jesus and of Mary Immaculate is a religious community of contemplatives in the world. Their days are spent in prayer. They serve in shrines, parishes, the medical field, and education. They are open to the soft whisper of the Spirit, mirroring Mary Immaculate and the Annunciation and the Visitation. Their talk today is on the topic of nurturing vocations in the homeschool environment. Let's welcome Father and Sister.
Please, if you can't hear me, say something. As dear announcer Jamie has just said, my name is Sister Jessica Whitman. Many of you may know my family. My family sometimes comes here. You may know my mom, Beth. She is at one of the tables, my sisters. As was mentioned, I'm a member, Franciscan Sisters, Missionaries of the Heart of Jesus and Mary Immaculate. A lot of times we just say Franciscan Sisters, and if you just need to remember that, it's fine, because it's a long name. But I'll explain in a minute why our name is as long as it is, and what it means. To tell you a little bit about our community, just real quick, our family was founded in Rome, in Loreto, Italy. We are an international order. We have sisters in Italy, in France, actually in St. Teresa's home place, in Lisieux, where she's from, and where her basilica is. We're in Slovenia. It's a small country just north of Italy. We're also in Africa, in a country on the west coast, near Ivory Coast. It's called Burkina Faso, very small, very poor. And I hope to touch on that also. And here in the United States. We work at St. Peter's Parish, which is in Merchantville. You may know it. It's near Maple Shade. I work with Sister Teresa, who is unable to come today. She has her mother at home, who is not well, and she was unable to come. Sister Teresa and I work in the school. She is a teacher. I'm her assistant in the pre-K3 classroom, all the little itty-bitty ones. Our sisters were founded. We have, as our spiritual founder, St. Maximilian Kolbe. Those of you may have heard of him. He was a Polish Franciscan. His main word, the words that can sum him up, were to lead all souls to Christ through Mary. He was a great advancer of the work of total consecration, of asking Our Lady to use us as her child, as St. Louis de Montfort said, even as a slave. St. Maximilian said, no, let's even take it a little farther, even as an instrument, as a thing, a property. Because a child, you know, children don't always get along with their parents. A slave may not be too thrilled about what his master or mistress says to do. An instrument. My pen is not going to complain whether I use it to write a symphony or I use it to make doodles on the side of my paper while Father Allain is talking. My pen is going to do what I ask it to do, and gladly, because that's what it was meant to do. And St. Maximilian said, let us take ourselves to Mary, who will then take us to her Son. Our other spiritual founder, our spiritual mother, is St. Teresa of Lisieux, which is why we are at her shrine. She, as you may know, gave this idea of doing little things with great love, and this is what we take up. We ask Our Lady to use us for everything, everywhere, whatever she wants for her Son. And then in all these things we do, we ask her to help us do them, all for Him. We're also missionary. Sometimes people will say, well, how come you only have 3 sisters in the United States? How come, we're actually still a fairly small family order, founded in 1983. About 30 sisters. We have a small group of brothers now attached. We're in small groups because we are a missionary community. That's why part of our name is Franciscan Sisters Missionaries. We go different places. And yes, it's hard, you're going in small groups, but we do. You may know, I don't know how familiar you are with the religious life. Sisters and priests, religious priests, take 3 vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Poverty is taken different ways. For the community, chastity, as you know, is to live a chaste life, and obedience to your superiors, and through them to the church, to God. Our community takes a 4th vow. In a way, it's kind of a degree of what we take. Not only do we ask Our Lady to take us as her children, we make a vow of it, and we say, Blessed Mother, take it as strongly as I take my other vows. Because of our 4th vow, because we just ask God to use us wherever, we're open to any apostolate. In Africa, we're doing missionary work. In Italy, we help a lot of shrines and works like that. Here in the States, it's mostly in school. We've also worked in nursing field. Anywhere really that God called us. We've done a number of different apostolates, but here at the moment it is teaching. Part of the talk is what to do, what not to do, how to foster vocations. I can tell you a little bit of what my family did, and every family is different, but there are some things that are always there. When I first began to look, first began to discern. A little bit of back history. My family growing up was not all Catholic. My father was Catholic, my mother and some of us children were Episcopal. At a certain point, we had a fine, dynamic young pastor. He moved. He said, I feel like God's calling me to work. I believe it was Florida. He left. The pastor who came after him was not teaching the almost Catholic presentation that we've been used to. I was quite sure I made part of my first communion. I learned later that it was invalid. But he was not teaching the almost Catholic way that we said what the new one was teaching was more general Protestant. We said, this is not enough. This is not what we want. We began looking, we eventually became Catholic, and now I thank God that moment that seemed so sad to us that our favorite pastor was leaving was actually God's gift, because I don't know, how would he have gotten me to my vocation if I had not become Catholic as a child, if I had stayed as a Protestant? Once that happened and we came into the Catholic Church, we began to learn about the kind of prayer, the kind of devotions that are so common but could be more in our own church. Church near us offered adoration, 2 hours, every Thursday night, once a week. I don't remember who started me, but someone, a friend maybe, took me there and said, come on, let's go. We stayed maybe 15 minutes, not long. But there was something very special there. And I began asking my parents, could you drop me off, leave me there for half an hour? And I'd bring along a prayer book, I'd bring along my Bible, I'd bring along whatever, the rosary, which I just learned how to pray. I'd bring along something to do. And half an hour turned into an hour. And then I found out that they gave benediction at the end. And I'd say, Mom, if you drop me off at 7, can Dad pick me up at 9? Because I want to stay. I found something there that I can't find anywhere else. I want to stay with our Lord. This, I have to say, is a big help for me. And not every church has adoration, certainly not as much as you'd like. If you live anywhere near St. Peter's, we do have perpetual adoration. Always welcome to pop in.